They say when a star dies, the light lingers. But when James Dean crashed on that California highway, it wasn't just a car that shattered. It was the world's sense of invincibility. And in the silence that followed, a shockwave began. Their light blazes across the sky. Then suddenly, they are gone. But their glow remains. James Dean was such a star. He streaked across the American consciousness. He captured the restless spirit of youth. He spoke to a generation unsure of its place. His time was brief, his impact was immense. It shook the foundations of Hollywood. He made only 3 major films. Yet these films became anthems. He was not just playing a part, he was living it. Every gesture, every glance held a raw honesty. People saw themselves in him. Even now, decades later, his image endures. The tousled hair, the brooding eyes, forever young, forever defiant. The day began like many others. September 30th, 1955, a Friday. The California sun was bright. James Dean was excited. He was heading to a sports car race in Salinas. Racing was his passion. He had a new car, a Porsche 550 Spider. He called it Little Bastard. He had planned to tow the Porsche to Salinas, but his mechanic, Rolf Wutherick, suggested he drive it, to get a feel for the car. Dean agreed. The open road called to him. He loved the freedom of driving. He was accompanied by Wutherick, and by photographer Sanford Roth. Roth was doing a photo essay on Dean. They started their journey from Los Angeles, heading north. The mood was light, full of anticipation. Dean was looking forward to the race. He was eager to test his skills, to push the limits. Little did he know, this day would lead to a sudden, devastating end. The Porsche Spider sped along the California highways. Dean was at the wheel. He was a skilled driver, confident, perhaps too confident. Rolf Wutherick sat beside him. Sanford Roth followed in Dean's station wagon, with another friend, Bill Hickman, a stuntman. They made a stop for lunch at a roadside diner. They talked, they laughed. Dean was in good spirits. He was doing what he loved, living life on his own terms. The sun climbed higher in the sky. The landscape whizzed by. Fields of gold, rolling hills. The open road was an escape, a place where Dean could be himself. Around 3:30 p.m. Dean was pulled over. A California Highway Patrol officer ticketed him for speeding. It was a minor incident. He continued on towards his destiny. It was late afternoon, around 5:45 p.m. The sun was beginning to set. It cast a blinding glare, especially for westbound drivers. Dean was heading west on Highway 466. He was approaching the intersection with Highway 41, near the small town of Cholame, California. This junction was known to be dangerous. A young college student, Donald Turnipseed, was driving eastbound. He intended to make a left turn onto Highway 41. He started to make the turn. He later said he did not see Dean's small silver Porsche. The two vehicles were on a collision course. The impact was devastating. The lightweight Porsche crumpled like paper against the much heavier Ford. Rolf Wutherick was thrown from the Porsche. He suffered serious injuries, but he would survive. Donald Turnipseed sustained only minor injuries. James Dean suffered catastrophic injuries. The rebel, the icon, was gone. The scene at the intersection was chaotic. Twisted metal, shattered glass, the quiet of the countryside broken by the sounds of shock and disbelief. Passing motorists stopped. Some tried to help while others just stood by, stunned by the wreckage. The small silver Porsche, now a mangled heap, was almost unrecognizable. The Ford Tudor, damaged but largely intact, stood as a grim testament to the force of the collision. Emergency services were called. An ambulance arrived. Medical personnel assessed the victims. Rolf Wutherick was alive but gravely injured. He was rushed to the hospital. James Dean was extricated from the car. He was pronounced dead at the scene, or shortly after arriving at a nearby hospital at 6:20 p.m., just 24 years old. A life full of promise, extinguished in an instant. News of the crash began to spread. Disbelief turned to shock. Shock turned to grief. The news hit hard, like a physical blow. James Dean was dead. It seemed impossible, unbelievable. He was the embodiment of youth, of rebellion, of a future yet unwritten. Newspapers blared the headlines. Radio announcers reported the tragic news, with somber voices, across America and around the world. People stopped what they were doing. They listened in stunned silence, a collective gasp. His fans were devastated, young people especially. They had found a voice in him, a reflection of their own feelings, their own struggles. He understood them, or so it felt. Now he was gone, taken from them, so suddenly, so brutally. Grief poured out, in letters to studios, in calls to radio stations. The death of James Dean did not end his story. In many ways it was just the beginning of a legend, of a cult. His untimely passing transformed him from a rising star into an immortal icon. Fan reaction was unprecedented. It went beyond simple grief. It was a deep personal outpouring of love, of loss, of identification. Thousands of letters arrived at Warner Brothers each week, for months, even years. Many refused to believe he was truly dead. Rumors circulated that he was disfigured but alive, hiding from the public, or that the crash was faked. These were the desperate hopes of a generation unwilling to let go. His grave site in Fairmount, Indiana, became a place of pilgrimage. Fans left flowers, letters, mementos, seeking a connection to the young man who had touched their lives so profoundly. His image was everywhere, on posters. The Porsche 550 Spider, little bastard, the car in which James Dean met his end, became an object of morbid fascination and the subject of dark legends. After the crash, the mangled wreckage was sold, and so began the myth of its curse. George Barris, a famous car customizer, bought the wreck. He intended to part it out, but strange things started to happen. The car fell off its trailer, injuring a mechanic. Parts from Little Bastard were sold to other racers. The engine was put in one car, the drivetrain in another. Misfortune seemed to follow these parts. One racer, Troy McHenry, was killed when his car, fitted with Dean's engine, crashed. Another, William Eshrich, was seriously injured when his car with Dean's drivetrain also crashed. Tires from the Porsche reportedly blew out simultaneously, causing another car to go off the road. James Dean's death at 24 froze him in time, forever young, forever rebellious, forever the brooding, sensitive icon. He never grew old. He never faded from the spotlight. His image remains potent, a powerful symbol of unfulfilled potential and defiant spirit. His legacy is not just in his films, but in the way he changed perceptions of youth and masculinity in popular culture. His influence on subsequent generations of actors is undeniable. Figures like Elvis Presley, Marlon Brando, though a contemporary, Dean's posthumous fame amplified certain rebel traits. Bob Dylan, and countless others, they mirrored his style, his attitude, his raw emotional honesty. He paved the way for a new kind of leading man, more vulnerable, more complex, more relatable than the polished heroes of the past. Thank you for watching Cultural Shockwave the day he died. James Dean, Part 4, brought to you by Softbound. If this story shook something in you or reminded you of how fragile icons can be, tell us in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow along as we uncover more echoes from the past.